In this lesson, we'll talk about adding bump maps and also transparency. So in addition to adding color and specularity, we can also add a bump to make it look like parts of the surfaces are raised. So for instance, in our seat, we want to add sort of a bump texture to make it look like there's sort of a weave there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the seat material, and you'll see that there's a channel here called bump. So we can go ahead and turn that on, and we want to pipe a texture into the bump. So we'll go ahead and open this up. And we're going to come down here to surfaces, and you can't see this because it's a little bit lower than our screen here. But if you go to surfaces, towards the bottom you'll see one called tiles. So I'm going to go ahead and select tiles. And now you can sort of see the effect of the tiles here on our surface. Okay, and you can see that it's sort of making it look like it's raised up. If we take a look at our material tag, or texture tag here, you can see that the projection it's using are the UVWs, so this is where our UVs come in. It's telling it how to actually apply our tiling. So we'll go and jump into tiles. Okay, the first thing that I want to do is go ahead and change the global scale. So I'm going to go ahead and decrease that so there's more tiles. Okay, and you can kind of see that there. Now we're getting sort of a preview in here, but we can also come into render and do an interactive render region, where we can draw across our seat, and it will interactively render that and give us kind of a better look. And you can see there's a quality slider over here on the right, so I can dial that all the way up to the highest quality. Let's go ahead and take our global scale down quite a bit. We get something like that. Now that may look actually pretty good, and it kind of does, but you can also change the pattern that you're using. So right now we're just using squares, but we also have a number of different options in here to use. We could use hexagons, and let me go ahead and increase the size so we can kind of see that. So there's our hexagon pattern, which we could use. So we could use kind of a parquet pattern, kind of like a wood floor. Okay, you could do something like bricks. So if you needed a really quick brick texture, you could do that. Something like scales, which might be cool. But I'm going to go ahead and select weave. And what that will do is sort of make this weave type of a pattern. Okay, if you want to replace the red, you could just make it more of a kind of a lighter gray. Something like that. Okay. And so then we can go ahead and take our global scale down once again. And I'll take it down that far. So we get something like that. So we get something a bit smaller. We can also go into our bump now, and you can see the tile is being used. We can also change the strength. So I can increase the strength of the bump, and you can see that makes it very, the bump stand out a lot. Or I could take that all the way down. And oops. And so here the middle is 0, and so if we want to go negative, we can go negative. But the closer we get to 0, the lighter the bump will be. So depending on how close you're going to get to your object, you can change the intensity of the bump. I think something like that would be good. If we want to come in and take a look at this area, or do a quick render of this, you can see that the color is the same, but now we're using this tile to generate a bump across our surface, okay, which is what we want to do. Just gives a little bit more detail to that seat, makes it look like material. Okay, so as you get further out, if you can't see it, you can always bump up that bump strength to be able to see it a little bit better. Now, as far as the transparency goes, I'm going to go ahead and turn off our interactive render region for now. On this canopy here, I want to go ahead and add this white body material to the canopy. And then I've got a tag that is defining the canopy. So I'm going to go ahead and create a transparent material. So let's go ahead and create new material. And I want it to be transparent, so I'll go ahead and click on transparency. I'll dial that transparency down just a little bit. Let's take the specular, and I want it to be fairly glossy. So I'll go ahead and decrease the size of the speck. I also want it to have a bit of reflection. So I'll turn reflection on, but I'll take the brightness down a little bit. Okay, so something like that. Now I can take this material, let me actually call this something. So we can call this transparent canopy. And then I'll go ahead and take this and apply it to our screen. Now we've got a selection tag here, and so right now it's called window, and so all I have to do is go ahead and take this transparent canopy and under selection type in window or drag it in. Okay, I could come in here and drag that in as well. So now I can turn that interactive render region back on, put it over sort of in position here, and then you can start to dial in your values for your reflection and your transparency. So if you want to kind of rotate around just a little bit, kind of get a better idea of how transparent, how reflective that is. So in this case, I might want to go ahead and take the transparency down just a little bit. Okay, I want to take the color and take that down. Okay, and then the reflection, I'm going to actually increase that just a little bit. Okay, and then we can sort of see how that's going to look. Okay, so if you want to even take that up a little bit more, get a little bit more reflective, or take the transparency down a little bit more, you can get the look that you want. But you can see that the glass is transparent, but we've got the rim here that's still white, defined by that. So how you actually set that up is up to you. Okay, so that's a quick look at setting up bumps and transparency. In the next lesson, let's take a quick look at creating our own file textures. And Cinema 4D actually comes with a really powerful application for doing just that, body paint. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at doing that in the next lesson.